There are stories that make you smile. There are stories that inspire. And then, there are stories that leave a scar on your soul. This is one of those stories, a story of love, of hope, of the loss that came too soon. Far too soon. He wasn't just my father. He was the man I looked up to, strong, loving, dependable. A husband to 2 wives, yet never divisive. A gentle leader of a blended family that many might expect to be torn apart, but wasn't. My mother, his first wife, gave him 5 children, 4 boys and 1 beautiful girl. The second wife, younger, had 2 sons. But in his heart, there was no second-class love. We were one family. He led with wisdom, and he loved us equally. If he ever had favorites, we never knew it. He was peace personified. He carried the burdens of a father and made them look weightless. But he believed in me differently. From the moment I started my apprenticeship, he stood solidly behind me, encouraging me, praying for me, waiting patiently sometimes, too patiently for the day I would complete my service and be settled. For almost 10 years, I served my boss. 10 years of loyalty, patience, and sacrifice. And my father would say, "Son, remember that when the kid wants to receive milk from its mother, it's not ashamed of its 2 knees touching the ground." He called often. He never forgot to pray. He never stopped reminding me that everything I was doing wasn't in vain. So I continued on the strength of his encouraging words and never gave up, but fought valiantly. And finally that day came. After nearly a decade of service, I was settled, at last. He laughed over the phone. Not a normal laugh. A deep, fulfilled laugh that came from the bottom of his soul. "Congratulations, my son," he said. "I've waited and I've seen your day." His joy was full. My heart was full. I felt like the world was finally starting to make sense. But the world is cruel. It gives you joy and then snatches it without warning. 1 week after my settlement, things took the opposite turn. At first, it seemed like just fatigue, a little pain, nothing serious. He was immediately rushed to the Good Shepherd Specialist Hospital for tests and treatment. I thought it would be a brief stay, maybe a few injections, and he'd be fine. But what we heard next shattered our world. After several days we spent in that hospital without improvement, the doctor came out after the tests, with a face that said too much before he even opened his mouth. "His kidneys are failing. He urgently needs dialysis," the doctor said. "Yes, heavy. We don't have the facilities here. He must be moved immediately." My knees buckled. "Dialysis? Kidney problem?" But I didn't let fear win. We took him to Park Lane Hospital, just as the doctor had recommended. That night I sat beside his bed, watching him wince in pain. This wasn't the strong man I grew up watching. This was a fragile version of him, helpless, dependent. From that moment, our lives changed. Day and night, Hillary and I stayed in the hospital taking care for him. He couldn't eat by himself. He couldn't sit up. He couldn't bathe himself. He couldn't even lift his hands. So we did everything. We cleaned him, carefully, lovingly. We lifted him when he needed to use the restroom. We fed him spoon by spoon. We wiped his mouth. We changed his clothes. We adjusted his pillows. We stayed awake through the night, listening to every breath he took. We watched him cry silently in pain. At times we would play him gospel music on our phones. He would nod his head faintly. Tears would roll down his cheeks, not of pain, but of worship. Meanwhile, our other siblings couldn't be there physically. They were far away. But they were with us every day through video calls and voice notes. We all prayed. We believed God could still do something. But time kept ticking. His eyes were dimming. His strength was draining. And then came the darkest night of our lives. April 10th, 2025. It was quiet. Too quiet. We had just managed to get him to lie comfortably and were there watching what next, whispering prayers in our hearts to God and expecting a miracle. But at exactly 11:30 p.m., he started gasping. A loud, terrifying gasp. He was struggling to breathe. I rushed out of the ward screaming, "Help, please! My father needs help. He needs oxygen." But what I heard next broke me more than death itself. "There's no oxygen available right now?" I froze. Hillary froze. "I begged," I shouted. And there he was, our father, shaking, trembling, dragging his life with death. His eyes wide open. His hands are stiff. His lips are turning dark. We rushed to his side. I held one hand. Hillary held the other. He squeezed our fingers weakly. And then he let go. I watched him going, and I wished I could just drag him back, but there was no way. Just like that. No goodbye. No final words. Just a gasp. And silence. Hillary collapsed into tears, shaking in agony. I patted his back. "Be strong, Hillary," I whispered. But even I wasn't strong. I was dying inside. The next morning was a blur. Making calls, informing family, hearing my mother wailing broke my heart even more. And then, the hardest part came. We saw his body, stiff and cold. The man who once carried us now had to be carried. We dressed him in white. His face still had traces of peace, as if he knew it was time. On the day of the burial, my soul broke. I watched as they lowered his body into the ground. Shovels hit the dirt. Sand piled over him. Each thud was a heartbeat lost. That was the moment I knew he was never coming back. Not tomorrow. Not in my dreams. He waited so long, 10 years, to see me succeed. And he only got 1 week. 1 week! He didn't get to rest in comfort. He didn't get to enjoy his reward. Instead, he died in pain. How do I recover from that? Even now, sometimes I wake up thinking he's still alive. I picture his smile, his strong arms, his quiet voice saying, "I'm proud of you, my son." But then reality sets in, and the tears fall again. I work harder. I push further. Because everything I become now is for the honor of his labor. This is my true life story, and if it relates to you, be comforted. If this story touched your heart, please don't scroll away. Like this video and share it with someone going through a season of loss. Subscribe to True Heart Chronicles for more raw stories that inspire. Heal and remind us we're not alone. In the comments below, tell us, have you ever lost someone who meant the world to you? How did you cope with it? Let's share and let's heal.